goal, Quishbilly Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Quishbilly's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
And Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Let's not sharpen the knives just yet, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the warm-up episode 38. The Terriers travel to Bramall Lane for this weekend, but will the home side show their bluntness in front of goal, or will the blades be razor sharp? Joining me, your host, Brady Frost, to preview the Terriers match is a man who has a sharp tongue when it comes to talking about town sometimes. It's Mr. Josh Phillips, my co-host. How are you, Josh?
I'm all right, mate. Sharp tongue, do I?
Well, you don't mince your words when talking
you might be right, yeah. I get carried away, don't I?
Well, you know what they say, people who sit in thrones, high power and all that gets the head. It's good for the head. Do you want to explain to the listeners about the chair? Is it just, maybe a God complex or?
Well, maybe subliminally there, but it's actually not mine. I know you probably don't believe me, but it's honestly not mine. And it's the only chair I could find. I knew it'd get brought up on the podcast, but it's the only one I could find, as I say. So it is what it is. So yeah.
All been there. The only chair you have is a gold throne, but joining Josh and I is someone who always brings some sharp takes to the podcast, but also some razor sharp insight. It's Marcus Wilkinson. Marcus, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Yeah. So obviously you're no longer with Huddersfield Town Women. I know that was a hard decision for you, but how are you feeling about it all?
It's decision that wasn't taken lightly. We prepared all pre-season, and we had every intention of going into the league on the back of a successful season last year. We'd recruited really well, got 3 players in, and it was 3 really good players that benefited the squad and made us a lot stronger than last season. But circumstances meant that Jordan had to step away. Similarly, reasons to myself, and I think it was right that I stepped aside as well for my family and personal reasons, so the club can go in a new direction with Steve, and I'm sure they'll be really successful because the squad of players they've got there, they've got everything in place now to go on and win the league.
No, fantastic, and here's hoping that we'll do. And you're welcome at the podcast family anytime. I know that's the family you were talking about, obviously.
That's the one. Thank you for having me back.
No, thanks for coming back, mate. We're looking forward. It's been a while, so
it's been a while.
To hear what you've got to say about town. But before we do that, it's time for trash talk.
Oh, just settle it down, play on. Can we settle it down? What's your excuse there? No excuse at all, no.
So Josh, take it away.
All right, so when you think of Huddersfield Town v Sheffield United, I'm sure we all instantly hark back to the 2012 League One playoff final at Wembley. So this week's trash talk is going to be, I want to know how many of Town's 11 penalty takers can you name in 30 seconds from that final? So we'll start with Marcus. So you have to give me a number, how many you think you could name in 30 seconds. And then Brady will either call you out and ask you to name that many, or he'll increase if he thinks he can name more. So, Marcus, how many do you think you can name?
I'm going to go with 7.
7. It's a solid effort, solid start. Brady, can you do 8?
Yeah, I think I probably could, yeah.
Okay. Marcus, 9?
I'll go 9.
Brady, 10?
No, go on, name me 9.
Okay, so when I start the timer, Marcus, you'll have 30 seconds to name. Did we say 9?
9, yes.
9, yep. 9 of Town's penalty takers from that penalty shootout. So, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, your time starts now.
Damien Johnson, Alan Lee, Tommy Miller, Alex Smithies, Callum Woods, Gary Roberts, Jordan Rhodes. Oh, mine's gone. Jack Hunt.
Yep.
Say.
That's 8. You need one more.
Oh, mine's gone.
5 seconds.
No, my mind's gone.
1.
Oh,
One off.
my mind went blank.
Oh, good.
I bet some obvious ones as well, but mine went blank.
I didn't have 8, mate.
I'll be honest. I can't remember who you named. Did you say Alan Lee?
Alan Lee, yeah.
You said that one.
Pretty sure it did.
Yeah. Peter Clark?
No, didn't mention Peter Clark. Obviously.
Scott Arfield?
No, didn't mention him.
Callum Woods?
Yeah, he did.
I mentioned Callum Woods, yeah.
John Morrison?
No, didn't mention Sean Morrison.
All right, they're the 3 then, aren't they?
They're the 3 I missed, yeah.
Clark, Arfield, Morrison. Unlucky.
Yep. Oh.
Good effort.
That was you went big, Marcus, and
I just remember the first 3 that missed. Straight away. They were straight off the bat, and then it was just remembering who else was in the team.
Unlucky.
That was good. I mean, James, these are quite good, Josh. James on Sunday had to name what Football League players. At least that was more relevant to Town. Football League club, wasn't it, from formation. So I like it, mate. Good. You deserve the throne as quizmaster. Anyway, I'll stop talking about your chair, mate, because I can. So let's talk a little bit about Sheffield United. They're playing as we're recording, playing West Brom. So God, they're doing rubbish, aren't they? But I don't know. Or they're doing amazing. Delete is appropriate. But based on the previous 2 games, obviously we don't know what's happening right now. They have lost to Birmingham and drawn against Swansea, and they've not actually scored yet. So you could argue that maybe they're suffering a bit of a relegation hangover, similar to how we did. And we'll see how they go. But they've not scored any goals. So not to use the cliche, but obviously. He does have pedigree when it comes to this league. He's got Fulham promoted, he's got Watford promoted, but bearing in mind they've not really got going yet, to use the cliche, it's now a good time to be playing them, Marcus, especially after that win in midweek for Town against Preston.
Yeah, I think with a new manager coming in, it's difficult sometimes to stamp your way of doing things. Chris Wilder traditionally played with a back 3 and overlapping full-backs, and 2 strikers up front that were physical, and they had to get the ball into them. And I think Jukanovic, especially at Fulham, played in a slightly different way. So is he coming in and trying to do it the Sheffield United way, or is he trying to do it his way? So I think, like I said, they've not scored any goals yet. I think they won in the Carabao Cup, if I remember rightly. Yeah, I think Brewster got the winner there. But yeah, like I said, I think everyone's getting used to each other. There's a big hangover from obviously Chris Wilder leaving, certain players leaving as well, in likes of Lundstrom, and news obviously coming out tonight that Ramsdale going to Arsenal, so the keeper's now gone. So it's a big transitional process, and I'm sure give them 5 or 6 games and they'll find their feet in the league again and get going.
No, absolutely. I mean, when I was having a quick look before we were recording as well, they seem to be kind of changing formation. I mean, from your experience, how difficult is that for a side if you kind of keep changing formation? Is that a sign the manager's not quite sure he knows his best side yet?
Yeah, I think, like I mentioned before, Wilder traditionally played a back 3. Jukanovic might not be used to that, so he might have started off with that and then changed the formation just to suit the personnel he's got available to him. I think he's going with 1 striker tonight, if I remember seeing it rightly. So again, it'll be a different change in formation. So at the moment, we don't know what to expect on Saturday.
No, absolutely. And Josh, what are your thoughts on Sheffield United? Obviously, again, same question to you. Do you think it's a good time to play them, or do you think their quality will kind of show in against Huddersfield? Because let's be honest, even though we did get the win, we've not had probably the best start to the season.
No, I think it is a good time to be playing them, but that's not to say that I think we'll definitely get something. But they have struggled for goals in the first two games. Obviously, they've not scored any, so that's how much of a struggle it's been. But I think under Chris Wilder, he had a very sort of unique way of playing, and the squad was shaped around that. He was there for a number of years, and the players that came in were to suit his style. Now that Jukanovic has come in, as you say, he's got a great track record in this division. And when I heard the appointment at first, I was thinking, yeah, I can see Sheffield United bouncing straight back. He was the kind of manager I wish, if things had been different, I wish when we came down, if we had the finances to go and get someone like that, I would have liked to have done that. But obviously that's in the past, isn't it? But yeah, I think he will be successful, but it might not be this season, I'm starting to think. And that's not just because they've not won a game yet. That's more because the way he set up the team, it looks a bit disjointed in the first two games. So I think it could be a season of Jukanovic deciding in which players he thinks are up for the task of getting promotion back to the Premier League. But I think they might come on strong in the second half of the season. They might make some more changes in January. There's been a bit of upheaval, as you say, with goalkeeper Ramsdale and Lundstrom, and a few other players have left as well. So yeah, I think it's been a summer of change. They got on a little bit of a bad run. Maybe wasn't deserved as bad as they were on points last season. I don't think they were terrible, but the negative. We know what it's like when you just keep losing games, and I think there might still be a bit of a hangover from that. We know better than anyone what it's like to try and get rid of that losing mentality. So yeah, I think I'd say overall it's not a bad time to play them, but it could happen where it all clicks for them on the day and they save all the goals for our game. So, but I think we could get something from this game.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. It's hard to know, isn't it? I mean, like you say, you grind out a 1-0 win, you lose 5-1, you draw with the team that everyone expects to finish bottom. So, yeah, like you say, they're a bit unpredictable. We're probably a bit unpredictable. So who knows? But Josh, who were you picking for Sheffield United as kind of a key player, one to keep your eye on Saturday?
Well, I was looking at Jack Robinson, former Town player, because I noticed last night the left back for Preston, he got in some really good positions, particularly in the first half. So that's something we need to tighten up on. I know Ollie Turton is still adapting to life in the Championship, but I think while he's still making that adaptation, I think there's going to be joy for teams down the opposition's left side. But the player I've gone for is Sander Berge. There's not many players in the Championship, particularly midfielders, that have a value of 20 million plus. So you'd expect his quality to shine through. He'll keep the ball ticking over Sheffield United midfield. And I think Town will need to close him down, or else I think he'll run the show.
No, I think that's a very good point. Definitely a Premier League player in my opinion. Surprised no one's gone in for him yet, but obviously the window's still open. I think that's a good shout. Marcus, what about yourself? Obviously Sheffield United, they do have a lot of good players, certainly on paper. I know it's not quite clicked, but who have you singled out? I
was gonna choose Sander Berge myself, but obviously, Josh has just chosen him, so I'm gonna highlight another midfield player, John Fleck. I think over the 2 seasons in the Premier League, I think he was one of their more standout players. He can get on the ball and he can dictate the tempo of the game, and he can really hurt teams, as we saw when he was in the Premier League. And he can score goals, he can pass, he can create, he can do everything. So I think if he gets a license alongside Sander Berge and probably Oliver Norwood, then they can really do us some damage.
I think that's a great shout, and I think particularly something I don't know about you guys, something I've seen watching Town so far this season is we do seem to be losing the midfield battle quite a bit, and that's a real cause for concern. Because Sheffield United, you touched on 2 players there, their midfield's a lot better than ours, and I think that's where the game will be lost or won really. So I think that's a great shout. Having put all that in, though, I've not gone for a midfielder. I went for David Mcgoldrick, just because again, it's a bit similar to kind of Fraser Campbell in a sense. He seems to play kind of a bit everywhere, mainly a striker, but we did see in the second season of the Premier League for Sheffield United last season just gone, he did kind of get rewarded with some goals, and I do kind of think he's maybe a little bit above what Fraser Campbell is, has that quality. And, I think he's a player town fans would love, in terms of he might not score, but he works really hard, and I don't think you can ever question his effort, and maybe just, like I said, a little bit above what Fraser Campbell is at the moment. So, I think he's one to watch out, because, again, you talk about the strikers who haven't scored, like Ollie McBurney and Ryan Brewster, and they've got Mousse, I think, as well. None of them have gotten score sheet. Yeah, he's the one I kind of picked out. So was that Marcus? Has someone called?
Billy Sharp as well.
Oh yeah, Billy Sharp. Yeah. God,
yeah. Club captain.
Yeah.
Love the goal against us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Less said about that, better. But nice. But yeah, Marcus, I'll come back to you. Actually, obviously, we're a Town podcast. Town have got a win, and as we've kind of mentioned, Sheffield United haven't got going yet. Who do you think would be a key player for Town for this, if we were to get something from this game?
I picked out Lee Nichols. Obviously, that's probably highlighting how I think the game's going to go. I think Sheffield United will probably control the game and will cause us a few problems. And I think, Lee Nichols, since he's come in, we saw him pre-season, he looked calm and composed. And against Sheffield Wednesday and again last night, I think, like I said, I think he's a really calming presence for the back 3, 4 or 5, however many he plays at the back. And again, I think with his height, he can command his box as well, which is something that I think we've lacked. I think he made a little error with his feet last night, but overall his distribution's been spot on. So I think he'll be a big player for us throughout the season. I think he'll be a key player tomorrow.
No, I think that's a great shout, and something me and Josh have debated quite a lot on this pod is obviously Ryan. We saw he hugged Schofield hugged Nichols at the end, but what do you think of that? Is that a good thing for Nichols to get a run now? Do you think, for not only for Nichols but for Schofield also?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's probably good for Ryan as well. A young lad, had a lot of criticism, so I think sometimes you've got to take him out of the limelight and just, unfortunately have a seat on the bench and, watch on and improve, and when his time comes again, learn on his mistakes and get ready to perform once he does come in. But like I said, I think that Lee Nichols will get the nod from now on. I think we missed him through COVID the first couple of games. I think if he didn't have COVID, personally, I think he would have started the first few games as well. So I think he got a bit unfortunate there.
No, definitely. And Josh, who have you singled out? Are you thinking more defensively minded for this game?
Well, I'm going to go for Lewis O'Brien again. Although with every game that passes, I suppose it becomes increasingly likely that he's not going to be playing the next game.
You're just trying to drive up his value. That's all that's about.
Exactly. Well, Phil's bung me 20 quid to try and get him a bit more money for him. So I'm sure this will make all the difference.
We know the Leeds United scouts listen to this.
Obviously, yeah. I think all football scouts do. So.
Absolutely, goes without saying.
But yeah, as I say, I think the midfield could be where Sheffield United pull the strings on Saturday. I'll be honest, that they've started tonight with Mcgoldrick and Billy Sharp up front. That doesn't really scare me. I think Brewster and McBurney on the bench, from what I've seen, in my opinion, would be more of a threat against Town. But I suppose it depends if they score tonight or not, doesn't it? They're trying to try different combinations, see which ones work. But I think the damage could be done for Town in midfield because, as you say, last night and against Fulham, we just, there was no real, we didn't really offer any resistance in midfield. It was all too easy. We've been played through the last 2 games. One against a poor Preston side, which they didn't make the most of it. But I want to see Town, dominate midfield, or at least get after the opposition a bit more, close them down. And I think on the back of his return last night. Hopefully, Lewis O'Brien will have that match sharpness to set about the likes of Sander Berger and Ollie Norwood and try and restrict their play, make it difficult for them. So that's why I'm going for him.
No, I think that's a really, really important point, like you say. I mean, who knows what will happen? You know, a couple of days is a long time in the transfer window, but I've gone for a similar player. I've gone for Scott High. I know he's a young lad, but I do think he deserved his start against Preston. You know, he had some good spells. Obviously, still a young player who's learning, but I think, like we were touching on earlier, the midfield battle for me is really key. And I think what Scott High does offer is he has, you know, he's never going to stop running. And I think in terms of a disruptor, like you say, I think that's going to be really key. Him, if O'Brien does play, and Hogg are going to be busy lads, you know. And I think we need as much as we get. And I think if you have someone, you know, if you have O'Brien, have High, who don't stop running, you know, and don't give them a moment's rest, I think we, you know, I'm not saying we'll win the game, but we could certainly, you know, catch Sheffield United on a bad day, and who knows from there, you know.
I think the midfield three from last night, who you just said, Hogg, O'Brien, and High, could be more suited to playing against, you know, a team where we're going to be on the counter attack more, rather than a game that we're going to try and dominate. I think, you know, they've all got a decent engine. They all get about the pitch, and we've got Hogg and O'Brien have got a good O'Brien and High have got good acceleration when it comes to pressing. So I think, it could that could work if we stick with that midfield three on Saturday.
No, we will see. We will see. Well, you'll be going to the game, Josh. But unfortunately, no time, and we're going to have to miss another view from the other side this time. Just a bit short. Obviously, me and Josh have been podding non-stop since Sunday, really. So it will be back. We will hear a fan for Reading, I'm sure. So, but we will move on because it's time for backing time.
A backpack full of memories.
Cool, Josh. Take us away.
Well, looking through the records, Town and Sheffield United have not played that many times really in the last 20 years or so. But in history, all time, Town have got a winning record against Sheffield United. We've won 41, lost 29, and there's been 35 draws. But the game I'm going to pick out, I'm going to go back in time to 13th of September 2011. When the game was played at Bramall Lane in League One, and Town ran out 3-0 winners, thanks to goals from 2 from Lee Novak and 1 from Oscar Goburn. The crowd that night, 17,373. But as I recall, I think similarly to this year, actually, I think the ticket prices were borderline extortionate for the game. So I remember there wasn't actually that many Town fans that travelled. It was a night game. And we went 3-0 up within 40 minutes and then saw the game out. But it was at a time when, you know, Sheffield United were a promotion rival. And as it turned out later that season, as we mentioned, we beat them in the playoff final. But I remember that game. It was really, as I say, night game, great atmosphere. And, we blew them away in the first half. Either of you at that game?
I wasn't, no. I wasn't.
We're not true fans, mate. No, but I mean, not that I want to be one of those guys, but 33 quid for Sheffield United this Saturday. As Roy Keane would say, do me a favour. But shocking.
Yeah, I think it was similar to that, the game that I'm talking about here.
We're rubbish. Why would you pay?
I don't know how many tickets we've sold.
Yeah, we will see. We'll see. No, but I mean, you know, it's a Yorkshire derby, isn't it? I'm joking. I mean, it is. You know, 20's plenty. You know, in my opinion, but yeah, you know, I think that's, you know, pricing people out. But anyway, we'll move on from my rant because it's time for everyone's favourite section. I don't know who knows, but I certainly like it. It's Return to the Map.
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. De Poitra's got the better. Yes! And Laurent De Poitra scored! What a goal, Aaron Moy! An absolute thunderbolt delivered all the way from Australia.
Return to the Map.
Cool. So, Marcus, you are the guest. You know how this works, but it's your first appearance of the season. So, who have you picked back from the past for Town to come?
Well, coincidentally, He will be coming up against us. I've gone for Oliver Norwood. With the likes of losing a bit of creativity in midfield in Bacuna over the last few years, and O'Brien potentially on his way out. I think Oliver Norwood can give you that little bit of assurance in midfield. It gives you great passing ability and set plays. I think, and long range goals as well. He's got that in his locker, and I think if we had him in our midfield, we'd be a lot better off than what we are. But again, it'll be interesting to see him come up against us, and I'm sure with that midfield for him, no doubt he'll have a good game against us as well. So, I'd love to see Oliver Norwood back.
Oh, I love that shout. I really like Norwood. I think that's a great shout. And I don't know about you, but I know he was a good player. But to see him, it's particularly in Sheffield United's first season in the Prem, how well he was doing, class player, would walk into this team. Josh, what about yourself? Who have you picked as a former player to come back?
Well, I've already picked Tommy Smith this season because for me, Ollie Turton's not quite doing it for me in the right wing back position. So if we're going to stick with that system, I would find another right wing back. So as I've already picked Smith, as I said, I'm going to go for. Well, it's not going to get me many votes, but I'm going to go for Jack Hunt because when he first came into the team, he was he was a real threat to the opposition. He had absolutely no fear. He just run at defenders, cause all sorts of problems. Yeah. I think he got a few penalties from doing so, or get an assist for a few goals. But yeah, for me, not the most popular among the town fans. So I'm not expecting to get my first poll win. But yeah, I think Jack Hunt, if we had him in the team, I think he would improve us at the moment.
I think that's a good shout. I don't think that's probably going to win the vote, but the reasoning is sound, and that's the most important.
That's the main thing.
That's the most important thing. I don't. So I've been debating because I think we've been talking about the midfield. I was thinking of midfielder. I think Norwood's a really good shout, Marcus. But this is when Matt would accuse me. But Danny Ward's been hauled off. At half time in the last two games. I think our strikers are an issue. And someone who, if people listen to this, will know I love and always thought we could get more out of him is Mr. Steve Mounier. And I just think Thomas's delivery and having Steve Mounier on this side, it would be such a good combination. So I'm picking Big Steve. Loves his Marston's chicken, loves riding in the fire engine, did love scoring goals with his head. So I'm going for Steve Mounier because I think he would be great in this game, particularly with Thomas's delivery.
Great shot.
Yeah. First shout.
I think that's good. They're all good options though. Josh, I don't think you're going to win. I think you knew that though. But
I've still never won one. So
haven't you? Oh wow.
Yeah. I need to pick a belter.
You need to do what when we were really struggling and I just went through the promoted team that everyone let me fall. I was just I have half an hour to prepare this. I want to win. I'm a competitive person.
Aren't we all?
Exactly. It's football, mate. You always want to win.
That's it.
So anyway, we'll move on because speaking of which, it's You're the Boss time, and we are in charge of the dugout. So Marcus, I know you've left a management position, but at the moment you've got a one-time opportunity to manage Huddersfield Town against Sheffield United. So this is the team you'd pick. So not that you think Carlos would pick. So who have you gone for and how you line up?
I would line up for this one in a 3-4-3 formation.
Oh.
So I would start with Lee Nichols in goal, back three of Lees, Pearson and Levi Colwill, with wing backs of Ollie Turton and Sorba Thomas. And then for what we spoke about previously regarding midfield battles and Sheffield United's midfield, I would go with Hogg and Vallejo in there. Again, just to protect the back three and, to give us a bit of bite in midfield, with Hogg and Vallejo's a bit of a ball player, so he can help us stay on the ball more. And then a front three of Josh Karoma, Daniel Sani and Jordan Rhodes. That'll be my team.
Nice. I think that's
like
good.
I think with Sorba Thomas's deliveries and whatever else in the box, I think Rhodes he'll be up for it. He'll have a bit of a feistiness of the Sheffield United fans with him being ex-Sheffield Wednesday as well. So I think he'd be really up for the game and like you say, with Thomas and Turton's deliveries into the box, I think he could get a couple of goals.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that Rhodes hasn't started any games tonight for that, really. So a bit of an interesting one. What did you think? You picked Lees in your team. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with Pearson because he felt a bit dizzy before the game. But what did you make of Lee's performance last night?
I did only watch the first half. It's poor for me. I think he looked composed. I think he gave the ball away once, if I remember. But I think what he had to do, he did it really well. You know, he's a very experienced Championship defender. I think he's played over 400 games in the Championship. So, you know, he's a leader as well. And, you know, I think he'll give us that bit of calmness at the back. And I think he'll be a great signing for us. I think it's probably a signing that's gone under the radar a little bit because he's not a big name and he's not a, you know, we haven't spent any money for him and, you know, whatever else. But I do think he'll be a really, really good signing for us.
Yeah, no, I was impressed. I mean, it's particularly, you know, when you think he didn't play a pre-season, you know, I think he came in and did pretty good, especially
especially coming in last minute as well with Pearson dropping out in the warm-up. I think, you know, psychologically that can take a toll on some players. But like I said, with his experience and leadership, I think he dealt with that really well.
No, absolutely. Josh, what about yourself? You know, you are in the throne, so, you know, you're used to making decisions. So how are you lining up?
Well, a chair like this comes with pressure, doesn't it? So
exactly, yeah. Heavy as the head for those who win the crown. So
yeah. So I'm going to stick with the 3-5-2, mainly because I think one of our strengths has been the centre backs' performances. So I think it makes sense to play three of them. Yeah, as you said, Lees, I think he did pretty well. So I'd have Nichols in goal, Lees, Sarr, and Colwill, 3 centre backs. Right wing back, I would have Turton, but he needs to up his game. I'm not hammering the guy, but he needs to be needs to be better for me. Central midfield, I have Hogg, O'Brien, and High, and Sorba Thomas left wing back, and I would have Karoma just behind Fraser Campbell because Danny Ward's he's been hooked off twice after 45 minutes. So I think, you know, Rhodes is more of a, I don't think should start a game particularly like this away from home. His strengths don't lie in holding the ball up really. So I think saying that Campbell's not amazing at that either, but I think Campbell can get after Sheffield United defenders and he just has more of an impact on the game, really, than Ward and Rhodes have been having. So just purely for that fact that he puts himself about, I'd have Campbell as the striker with Karoma just behind.
No, I think that's a really good point. I think Campbell's, well, you know what you get with Campbell, don't you? And Ward, he was apparently ill. That's why he went off yesterday. But, you know, I think the Fulham game, he didn't go off because he was ill. I think, you know, he would admit himself he didn't have the best. I've interesting lads. I've gone. I don't know what the situation was Toffolo. So I've put him in my team. I'm interested that you guys haven't. I suppose we'll wait and see.
Oh yeah, I'll be honest. I forgot about him.
That's fine.
He'd be in my team, but I just thought he might still be out. But yeah,
no, it's fair enough.
It wasn't intentional.
Yeah, you know, you're the one making the decisions, mate.
I know, but I'm such a good boss that I don't bother checking my availability of players. So
anyway, I'm going for 4-2-3-1. I feel weird because I completely agree with you, Josh. I think having 3 at the back as Fulham side, but you know, Naby Sarr looks a lot better in a back 3. But I'm going to go for, if Toffolo is fit, my back, so Nichols in goal, Turton, Colwill, depending on Pearson. If not Pearson, I'd probably swap him out for Lees, Toffolo. And then for my 2, I think I'd go Hogg and Vallejo. I'm kind of making this up on the spot. And then for my 3, I would probably have on the right, I'd probably have Sorba. Because he was playing on the right a lot in pre-season and now he's been filling in at left wing back. I don't think O'Brien's going to be here. So I'll put High as kind of like I picked him as a key player, so I've got to put him in. But, I think you can switch it up. Koroma on the left, and then I'd go Campbell up front, but I would caveat this by, if O'Brien's playing, I would put O'Brien in there. And Sinani, for me, I was moaning about it last night. He needs to get minutes, and I noticed you started in Marcus, but,
he's just got a screamer for the B team as well, so I'll do him the world of good.
Exactly, mate.
Exactly.
There we go. Yeah. Well, I'll come to you, Marcus, actually, because how do you see this game going? I know, obviously, we talked a lot about Sheffield United, and they really got going, but they do have quality. And as we say, Town haven't had the best starts to the season. So, what's your score prediction? How do you see the game going?
I'm always trying to be optimistic, and like I said before, it probably is the right time to play Sheffield United. And I think the win last night, even though the performance wasn't pretty, I think that'd give the lads a lot of confidence and whatever else. And I think it'd have been quite a happy dressing room last night on the basis of 3 points. And I'm going to take, it's a bit of a bold shout, but I'm going to say we will nick it 2-1.
Oh, lovely.
I'm going to say we'll nick it 2-1. Because again, like we've spoken about, they've not scored any goals this season yet. And obviously the time we're recording, they are playing against West Brom, and they're currently 1-0 down at the moment. So yeah, I think, we don't know what formation they're going to play. They don't know what personnel they're going to play. So it might be a total different formation again, and perhaps the time is right to play them. So I'm going to go with 2-1 to Town.
Lovely. Who do you think in your 2-1, who's getting the goals? Do you say Rhodes?
I'm going to say Rhodes will get one, and I think Sorba Thomas will get his first of the season as well.
Lovely. Did hit the post against Preston as well.
Did.
Knocking on the door. Like that positivity. Look what happens. We have a scrappy win, and look how it all changes. Josh, what about yourself? How do you see the game going, and what's your score prediction?
Well, as you say, they are 1-0 down at the moment, so I'm going to back them to lose this game, and they still won't score. So if that does come to pass, then I think there might be a little bit of pressure on Jukanovic. I don't think the Sheffield United fans are very happy with the way they've started under him. So I think there might be a bit of tension in the ground. So I don't think it'll be a high-scoring game. So for that reason, I'm going to say 1-1, and Town get a late equaliser through. Let's go for Koroma.
Nice. Yeah, I've also, it sounds like I'm almost copying Josh, but I've also gone for 1-1. I think maybe it's just because, we actually won a game, but I think what we've talked about Sheffield United, they're probably better us now, but I think it's a good time to play them. I think if we go in there, unlike what we did against Fulham, trying to match him, if we go in defensive and frustrate, like you say, fans get on their backs, they're not starting well, I think that could really play into our hands. Nichols did look comfortable, but I still worry about us. Preston were no great shakes yesterday, and I think obviously Naby still had to clear it off the line. So I think they will score, but I can see us, just corners like I say, Sorba Thomas's delivery, I think is, they're not fully settled either. So I can see it being 1-1 with us from a set piece. And to be honest, I think that would be a great result.
It would.
Get everyone going. But obviously, 2-1 would be fantastic.
Yeah, it would be. It would. I'm always optimistic, you know me.
That's what I like to see, mate. We need a bit of optimism.
I like to throw a little spanner in the works, don't I, towards the end of the...
We're wrapping up.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. It's on my mind. So the Harry Toffolo thing, if he's available, does that mean we can't play 3-5-2 because Thomas has been playing left wing back, but you've got to get both in the team, haven't you? So that's an interesting one for me, because if we do go 3-5-2, then I'm not sure how we'll go. How do you fit in Toffolo, Thomas, and Koroma in that system? I'm not sure you can.
I think personally, I don't think he started the season too well. I think he'd put Koroma on the bench if that was to happen. I don't think he's had the best start to the season, if I'm honest. Not like I'm not hammering him or anything else, but I think if that option was available, I think he would put Thomas on the bench. Koroma on the bench and keep Thomas in the side.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I think that's a good point. I think Koroma, while we're talking about it, obviously it's only 3 games in, but I don't think he should be playing in 2. I think he's a left winger really that cuts in like Grant was for us. So I don't know. I think Thomas can play on the right. So it depends if we do play a 3-5-2. I think it should be said as well with the COVID thing. We don't know what type of COVID Toffolo's had. For a lot of players, it's not like he's had a 10-day break potentially. He might not make the game even if he's technically available. So it kind of depends. I think that really depends on how Toffolo's feeling, because we saw Nichols came straight back in, as did Lewis, but don't know with Toffolo because obviously people get different forms of COVID and it's affected them differently. So he might not be fit enough to start. It might come on. We'll see. But
true.
I don't know. Yeah. So that was kind of a getting out of your hypothetical. But I think Thomas has to keep playing. To be honest, I think I was listening to the other podcast, the Examiner one. And, I think David Harshett made a good point about Thomas has been great so far, but it's only kind of been in like 15 minutes here and there, like in a game. When he actually puts in 90 minutes together, I think he's going to be like some player. So I think just keep him at the side. To be honest, I'd say he's been our best player this season so far. I don't think that's a hot take.
Naby Sarr not far off for me.
Yeah, no, he's been good. Yeah, he's been a lot better in a 3, hasn't he? A lot better, which is why, as me being in charge, I changed it to a back 4.
Just to unsettle him.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. He's had a good game now. I've dropped him because he'll have a bad one because that's what he was like last season. But no. Anyway, we will see. But Marcus, to tell you right now, if it's 2-1 and you've predicted this, then what a fantastic way it's going to be. Josh is going to be there, so he'll bring, hopefully the luck from Zoom will have transferred across.
Let's hope so.
Fingers crossed. But yeah, no, thanks for coming on, Marcus. Thanks as always, Josh, and thanks to everyone for listening. We will not be previewing Everton just because,
we're lazy.
But I don't know. I think we'll probably lose that. So not that we we don't.
Is that the preview? Is that it? We'll probably lose that.
We'll probably probably lose that 2-0. Yeah, obviously we preview games when we're going to lose. Otherwise, there won't be many previews. But anyway, we will be back to review Reading. So stay tuned. But yeah, all the best and up the town. Lovely.
Nice one.
Yeah, sorry about that.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.